Hello, boys and girls. Today, we will be reading Peter Cottontail and the Easter Bunny Imposter by Suzanne Smith, illustrated by Jeffrey Brittingham. Peter Cottontail and the Easter Bunny Imposter. Nestled among the trees on Willow Lane is the busiest rabbit hole in the forest. Inside is the workshop of Peter Cottontail, and since tomorrow is Easter, it is even busier than usual. Peter Cottontail himself is hard at work. He must make sure that everything is ready for the big day. All around him, workers are washing, painting, and decorating Easter eggs. But 2 workers are missing. "Where are Chester and Gabby today?" asked one of the rabbits. "I don't know, but I hope they get here soon," said Peter. "I need Gabby to fill these Easter baskets, and Chester needs to add his special finishing touches to these eggs." Meanwhile, Gabby, who knew she was late, was running down the forest path at top speed. As she rounded a corner, she ran smack into Chester. "Chester," said Gabby, straightening her feathers, "are you on your way to Peter's workshop?" "Nope," said Chester slowly. "But why not?" asked Gabby. "Easter's tomorrow, and Peter needs our help." "He doesn't need my help," grumbled Chester. "Besides, there are plenty of others to help him. He probably won't even miss me." Seeing that she couldn't change Chester's mind, Gabby hurried off. Chester watched Gabby go. All week long, he had helped Peter, adding a special touch to each Easter egg, but no one had even said thank you. All anyone in the workshop talked about was how great Peter Cottontail was and how much all the children loved him. Chester slowly made his way down to the pond. He sat by the edge of the water and began ripping out reeds one by one with his teeth. "Peter Cottontail gets all the attention," he grumbled, "but this year it will be different." Peter was relieved when he saw Gabby running toward him. Surely Chester was not far behind, he thought. But when Peter asked Gabby where Chester was, she said he wasn't coming. "Not coming?" cried Peter, looking at all the eggs. "All day long the workers have decorated the eggs, but they just don't look the same without Chester's special touch. Oh well, we can't wait any longer. I guess these eggs will have to do. I hope the children won't be too disappointed." And with a sigh, Peter went back to work. Hours later, Chester was still down at the pond. By now, the sun had fallen below the treetops, and he was working by the light of the lightning bugs. When he finished, he quickly gathered all his things together. "I'd better hurry, I'll never get everything done by Easter morning," Chester said to himself, and with that, he set out for his den. Back at the rabbit hole, Peter Cottontail was getting ready for bed. He put on his pajamas, brushed his teeth, and set his alarm clock for 4 a.m. After all, tomorrow was a big day. Chester crawled along the path, dragging his strange creation behind him. He arrived at the workshop just as the silvery moon was rising high overhead. He stopped for a moment and looked all around to make sure no one saw him. Then he picked up his creation and slipped it over his head. Chester opened the door and climbed inside. "Oh my," said Chester, "I never realized how many eggs there were. How will I ever get them all hidden?" But Chester began working anyway. One by one, he rolled the eggs out of the hole. It took most of the night just to get them all out. When he was done, he rested against the tree and nearly fell asleep. He was so tired. After regaining his strength, Chester tried to think of a way to get all the eggs hidden before Peter woke up. Early the next morning, Peter's alarm clock woke him with a loud bring. After a few yawns and a long stretch, he jumped up out of bed and headed toward his workshop. But when he looked inside, the Easter eggs were gone. Peter ran outside, and there he found the eggs. They were scattered everywhere for as far as he can see, and rabbits can see quite far. There were eggs by the mailbox, eggs by the trees, and eggs by the wooden fence, and not one of them was hidden. Peter scratched his head and said to himself, "I must be dreaming. Who would take the eggs and just scatter them around like this?" Just then, Peter saw something coming toward him. It was the slowest, fluffiest, most ridiculous sight he had ever seen. He hid behind the willow tree to get a better look at the strange creature moving down the path. As the creature got closer, Peter saw who it was and fell ears over tail laughing. "Chester, what are you doing dressed like that?" Peter asked between giggles. "Oh, never mind. Have you seen this mess? Someone took the eggs from my workshop and threw them all over the grass." Chester looked up and said wearily, "I did it, Peter. I dressed up in this silly outfit to look like the Easter Bunny. I thought if I could hide the eggs, then the children would love me just as much as they love you. But hiding eggs is hard work, and I can't move very fast," sniffed Chester sadly. "Chester," said Peter, "what you do in the days before Easter is just as important as what I do on Easter morning. Why, without your special touch, the eggs wouldn't be as wonderful as they are." "But the children only see what you do," said Chester. "Well, we could fix that," Peter said with a smile, "but we'll have to hurry. I'll gather up the eggs and bring them to you. You finish them and then I'll hide them. And don't forget to sign your name. That way, children everywhere will know who makes the eggs so beautiful every year." And so they began their work. As each batch of eggs dried, Peter dashed off to hide them. The plan worked. Before even a single child finished dreaming of Easter eggs and jelly beans, all the eggs were hidden. Then Peter, Cottontail, and Chester raced back to the workshop. Can you guess who made it back first?